What is a demon eye? I'm gonna explain in this video. Yo, I'm Chris and you're at FlyRyde, where I build custom lights, showing you what parts I use, how I install them, and why I chose those parts. And one of the parts that I use all the time in all kinds of different things is an LED demon eye. This is what it looks like, and there's a ton of other types of them as well. So like most things in the custom lighting space, there are multiple different manufacturers, there's multiple different styles, but they are the same thing. They are LED demon eyes, and all they do is they change the color of one little thing inside the headlight, and that is the projector lenses. So in this video, I'm gonna take this lens out of a Nissan 370Z, I'm gonna replace it with a crystal clear lens, and it's gonna have a demon eye behind it. Now this new lens has a really cool etching job to it. It looks like a honeycomb. There's another product that everybody confuses with demon eyes, and that are these guys, little angel eyes. That's gonna be a ring of light. We're talking about just like the main light itself, the actual projector. We're gonna light it up from inside of the housing. One little thing to note, it does not change the light output that your car drives with at nighttime. That would be your low beam. We don't touch that. All we're gonna do is add those cool little LEDs that I just showed you inside of the projector. I'll show you how I mount them in this 370Z, and then I'll show you the final outcome once that job is finished. So, this is not angel eyes, this is not halos, this is not, I don't know, they call them devil eyes. We're just calling them demon eyes, okay? Here we go. The projector lens is gonna get upgraded itself. So there's a clear lens. Let's just put this thing in the light and we'll show a difference. Okay, I don't recommend using your bare hands when you deal with a projector lens. But in this case, it doesn't matter because it's getting replaced. So I'm gonna take it off and show you. So there's this one ring. It's actually gonna hold on the lens. There's also gonna be a spacer that's in there. And so what you would normally wanna do is not just grab it. You'd want to make sure that your hands are just on the very edges so that you don't actually have to touch that lens. And here we are. This is our Fresnel lens. A couple years ago, I was on TJ Hunt's channel and I said Fresnel, because that's the way that it's spelled if you just start at the beginning and go through. Yeah, people got all bitter and pissed off that I didn't know.
Almost like it looks like little dimples in it.
Yeah.
It's called a Fresnel lens.
Like, this guy is supposed to know about headlights and he didn't know it's called Fresnel.
Okay, dorks. It's called Fresnel. You win. Anyway, so this Fresnel lens has all these weird little lines in it, and what that does is it actually makes the light soften as it's projected outward onto the street. That helps for oncoming drivers. It's just not as glaring. So what we're gonna do is replace that with the glaring version that's crystal clear. There's no little lines, and what it's gonna do is allow a full light output to shine through. But we didn't stop there. We actually had something special done from our friends over at THC. So let's check out the lenses with the honeycomb etching. So this is from Eric over at THC. We got these STi-R clear lenses, so they don't have the little lines in them, but what they do have is this awesome etching. So check that out. Oh, so the back side has actually been etched. You can do this with a special kind of liquid that eats into the glass. You can do it with sandblasting. There's multiple different methods that you can do. That's not what this one's about, how to do that. It's just to show off how freaking sick it looks. But if you look at that glass from the side there, totally clear, right? And then you look at this guy, you've got all those little lines. So as you can imagine, those little lines are gonna impact the light output substantially. Now that's obviously gonna bring up the next question. Well, you have etching in there. Is that gonna mess things up? I mean, maybe 5% light output will be messed up, but you have the extra light output to begin with. So it's kind of a wash, doesn't really matter. This is not made for performance and to blow everything else out of the water. It's just made to look cool. So if you can appreciate that, we're gonna stick it in. The demon eye lit up behind that, whew, it's gonna look good.
So I am gonna blast this thing off just to make sure that before I put it in place, there's no dust, no prints, nothing like that. It's looking beautiful.
And I'm trying to be ultra careful, but I'm not being a very good example for you guys. You should always have gloves on for stuff like this. Wait, now do as I say, not as I do. Okay, pull the end off the screwdriver, hand thread it in just a little bit to catch a couple threads. Stripping projectors is not super fun. I can tell you from experience, you just feel like an idiot.
Damn, it looks so good. Look at that. Oh yeah, actually, your boy's getting ahead of himself. We gotta install some demon eyes. Let's do that first. Okay, so let's take a nice little look inside this projector. We have a couple places that we could do things. We do have one little slit right here. So if we want to be super lazy, we could just aim an LED kind of straight down there, which means that it would catch the very top curvature of that lens and would actually bend the light downward to the ground, right? Throw some stuff on the street. I don't like that. I like it to be mounted down here. And then it catches the curvature right there and it forces that light to curve upward. And that is right where people's eyeballs are, right here, getting blinded by that awesome light, which is good. So here's our demon eye. All I'm gonna do, because I know I don't want that bracket on there, I'm just gonna back out that one little screw and then check that out. We've got this really easy to use little demon eye. With that glass removed, you can see inside the projector. So let me tell you what a couple things are inside of here. So inside, we've got a cutoff shield that actually drops down. If you notice, there's no section in this housing for a high beam. It's because this projector is called bi-xenon. Xenon meaning that there's an HID bulb inside of it. There's a ballast down here in the bottom. And when that bulb lights up, it stays on regardless of if the car is in low beam or high beam mode. All that happens if you do hit the high beam is this little window inside, it just flips down, allowing more light to escape. We're not messing with any of that stuff. All that we're gonna do is we're gonna mount a little glowing LED right up here in the front. It's not gonna impact the low beam. It's not gonna actually even be noticed by the low beam because it will be hidden down here where no light is actually reaching as it comes out of the projector. All of the action happens in the back, in the bowl of the projector when that HID bulb lights up. So we're completely not messing with anything, but it's gonna look damn cool. So let's do it. To get to the back of the projector, we're actually gonna take that back cap off. We're gonna twist off the ballast from the bulb itself. And then we can also see that there is a little clip in here to disconnect the high beam. I'm gonna use these really thin pliers. I'm just gonna pinch down right on the front of that little clip, solenoid wire. There we go. So now we've got the projector clear here, and I'll show you what I just pinched down on. So this little wire right there, that just has a little clip on the back side of it that I had to pinch down, and then it pulled right out. Okay, so here's our projector. And like I said before, we have this little slot on top that we could, if we wanted, just kind of, I don't know, go the cheater way and just do it super, super easy, mount the LED right here. But what's gonna happen if an LED is mounted right here is as the glass in front of the actual demon eye itself curves that light, if it's aiming down, then it's gonna curve the light down to the ground. Down to the ground. If it's mounted down here at the bottom, it's gonna do the opposite. It's gonna curve that light upward. So if you can imagine somebody's walking past and the projector's right here and the light is curving upward, it's gonna hit them right in the eyeballs, which is what we want, right in their freaking eyeballs. And so if we do it on top, it will actually put a pretty cool effect on the ground as well. But nobody's on the ground to appreciate that, and so the people that it catches in the eyeballs, it gets their attention. The people that notice it on their shoes don't really notice it on their shoes, and the attention gained is forfeited. How terrible. So having said that, let's figure out a way that we can take that little demon eye and we can drill a hole right down here at the bottom so that we can mount that demon eye in there. We really want to make sure that it's nice and tight on the body here. I didn't realize until I was actually making the video that this has a little attachment on the bottom. This is for something that can actually make the projector turn with the steering wheel as you're driving. Some cars have that, some cars do not. This particular one does not. I got a little bit worried there because I generally tell people not to put demon eyes in a projector that can pivot. But as I was looking at it on the fly, I was like, man, I guess we're just gonna be doing that on this video. That kind of like threw me through a loop there, but it's not. There's actually nothing on the bottom, no motor that can control the left and right movement of this, so we're safe. But I did want to mention, you really do want to think twice. If your projector, such as like some of the new Ford Focus RS lights, they're set to move with a little motor and all that. I know the Lexus IS, same thing, they're called AFS. So if your projector has AFS, you really might want to reconsider doing demon eyes in any way that could potentially make it to where it gets hung up and it can't pivot the way that it needs to. So if the bottom of your projector has one of those little guys on there, maybe just do angel eyes on the projector shroud, which is stationary. It doesn't move while the projector's doing its thing. That might make more sense. Anyway, let's get back to it. Okay, so what I want to do on this one,
This is my demon eye. I've removed the bracket from the bottom, so it's just this nice tiny little circuit board, and I don't even need this extra amount of metal on there. So I'm gonna trim that off, and I still know, even after I do that, I wanna mount the demon eye right down here in the front. Way, way, way down there. I don't have that much space, so I need to make sure that it is aiming straight up. So I don't want it at an angle like that. I want it aiming straight up and as low down here as I can possibly get it. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'll show you what it looks like once I'm finished, but the process will be straightforward. I drill a hole, I run the wires out the bottom of this thing, and then I make sure that I have them with a nice aluminum tape on the side so that it's nice and sturdy, it's not gonna come undone. And as long as it's super stationary with some double-sided tape on the bottom here, we'll just test it and see what happens. Now, something to consider if you have chopped the demon eye the way that I did. Number one, you're not gonna have a warranty or anything, but I don't really worry about that stuff. I just know that I have to be very careful of these wires now because they don't have anything that's gonna protect them if they're getting bent upward. It's gonna make that joint really, really weak, so let's be careful. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. It's gonna be aiming straight up. We're gonna put some double-sided tape all the way to the edges, and then we're gonna drill a hole for the wires, specifically so that those wires can leave this housing right down here, okay? So I'm gonna make a mark in the actual projector, then I'm gonna drill a hole, and I'm not gonna do it too close to the base because I don't want there to be a sharp edge or a harsh bend on this wire. If you're gonna drill into something like the metal of a projector, I definitely recommend first starting with a thinner, really sharp bit. So these from Milwaukee are super dope. I'm a big fan of pretty much all of these parts, but these individual little guys right here are gonna do a great job at cutting right into that metal. I might even have a smaller one. Ooh, I found it. I found it. Okay, so I've got this smaller bit. That's what I wanna use to start my hole in this, and then I'm gonna open it up a little bit bigger. You can also drill a couple holes and go to do the side to side thing. You can use a Dremel, cut through the metal however you want. I'm just gonna show you how I'm gonna do it. This is why we do this outside of the headlight housing so that we don't make a mess inside. Those shavings are nasty, that give you splinters. They're scary, I'm scared right now. It's also why it's nice to have compressed air all the time. So there's our first little hole. Just gonna open that up a little bit bigger, and then we're gonna run our wires right through it. And it looks like it's kind of got two layers on this particular projector. So you never know if it's gonna be really thick metal or if it's gonna be two different layers like this one. Another smart move before you do all this stuff might be to take out your bulb, just if you're tapping this thing around and messing it up. Now this thing, you cannot touch it or do anything, otherwise you'll have to clean it with alcohol wipes. So set this to the side so you can do your thing, have your way with this guy, and not worry about that guy breaking. These are about $100 each if you go OEM. We have a hole. Now we're gonna mount the demon eye, and then we will have glowing projector lenses. So check us out. We've got this little dude good to go right there. So we can test it now. What I want to do first, to see that, how it's at an angle, I want that side to be down, and to know that where it ends up sitting is right like that. That'd be perfect. Now here's a little trick that I've used for years. It's always done really good things for me, and you might not like it, but I don't care. So here we go. We're gonna wrap the edges here that have any of those circuits exposed. We're gonna first wrap them with regular black electric tape, and then after we've got the electric tape and all of those things covered, we're gonna use aluminum tape, and that is gonna be what we use to actually push the top of the demon eye LED board and hold it, pinch it down to the inside of the projector while it's got double-sided tape on the backside. So we're sealing it down with two different methods at once just to be safe. I know I got a little bit of extra space on the bottom floating underneath that demon eye, so I'm gonna cut this twice as long as I need it, fold it over on itself, and give that extra amount of sticky right to the bottom of the demon eye. And sometimes it sucks, and this is just kind of the nature of the beast, but having nails sometimes really helps you get stuff done. Every time I start feeling bad about myself and I clip my nails, I have to do some stupid thing like this and peeling tape all day long. And I'm like, damn, I had nails and now I don't. It's so hard. By the way, this is super awkward doing it in front of a camera, so give me that amount of grace if you will. Okay, see we're on there, and it's already ready for me to pull that stuff up and away. Okay, so before I put the double-sided tape on there, I'm gonna do my electrical tape. This is why I said you wouldn't like it, and why I don't care. It works so good. So we've got our electric tape around anything that could potentially blow this LED if metal touches it. We're gonna trim the end. Now we don't have any excess electric tape there. And now we're gonna cut some strips from the aluminum tape, and we'll fix the double-sided tape to the bottom of this. So that guy's ready to go as soon as it's got aluminum tape on top. I love this stuff. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put this in my Amazon store so that if you can't find it in your local store, which I have zero idea why that would be the case, you can hook me up a little bit, buy it from my Amazon store, and get me some affiliate commission, you know? Thank you for that. So, tape is going on. I want to line this thing up right in the center. Good. That's exactly what I wanted. All right, check that out. What do you think? I mean, considering that was janky looking at first, look how dope. It's just good to go. I want to turn it on now, really bad. I'll throw some aluminum tape right inside of here now. Now, if you want, you can cover up that aluminum tape with something else, like more black tape, just so that it's black in the background. Let's just see if it's very visible once we put even the factory lens on there. Here's a fun fact about demon eyes. Sometimes the ends can be super annoying if they have that type of a connection, because you can't tell which side is which. So you actually have to look and try to find inside the wire loom and figure out which side is which. So I see blue on top, then red, then green. So I need to make sure that I find that same look. Blue on top, then red, then green. Plug it in. And that was for the LED driver. So that's this guy. If anything ever goes wrong, it's probably gonna be because this guy burns out. So I'm gonna hook up power and ground to this end now and see what our demon eye looks like. Okay, so I've got this demon eye plugged into the XK glow unit. Now check this out. Every time it flashes the camera like that, that's right when it would be hitting your eyeballs. So let me give you a little demonstration. When my face gets all lit up, you know it's blinding me. Ooh. Ooh. That is not cute. You see how if the light's down here, I'm walking past the car, ooh, check out the car, it just blasts me, right? And I know I'm not even looking at it, but I'm like, that's gnarly. So if headlights are down there, I walk past this dude's car, I'm just like, whoa, what is that? Because of this though. Oh, it looks super dope on the camera right now. Pieces of tape are not an issue whatsoever. So we're good. Now let's see what it looks like with Honeycomb. All right, here's where we get the preview. Got the demon eye doing his thing in there. Ooh. Do you see why people are in love with etched projectors? Because that just looks amazing, right? Oh. One of the easiest things that you can do that, you know, would make everybody else think you're just like the best at this type of stuff, even if you suck at it. And there's a lot of guys that suck at it that do a lot of demon eyes, just so you know. Don't be scammed. They're not geniuses. Neither am I, by the way. I'm not at all trying to act like I'm better than they are. I'm trying to very carefully tighten these screws without messing up the orientation of that lens. As it turns out, even if you all the way tighten that projector lens retaining ring down, because of the thickness of the rim of the actual glass lens not being as exactly thick as the OEM, I'm gonna add a little piece of wire into there so that it can never come undone. Because right now, no matter what, that thing is never gonna stay perfectly straight. I think people probably make that mistake all the time, and they're just like, oh well, that's just how it was. Nah, that's not how it was. That's how the OEM was. If you change it to the STi-R lens, you should probably make sure that it's not gonna be rattling around in there. That's what I'm gonna do now. All right, So all I did, I used a little bit of some 22 gauge black wire, and that just acted as kind of a little barrier on the top and on the bottom to pinch underneath this guy. So it's not going anywhere no matter how much I shake it, and it looks so freaking cool. Okay, and as I mentioned before, I do want to make sure that this wire coming out of the projector is run somewhere where it's not gonna get in the way of anything. It's not gonna mess with that little solenoid or the little high beam section. So I am going to first tape the bottom part of it. Most fancy tape job you've ever seen. So you won't see this inside the housing. Everything you always do should be invisible if it's not on and running. Like, you don't want things to stand out and look like they were obviously put in there. The etching, I mean, you can't hide that, but if it's like the little LED in there that stands out like a sore thumb and looks terrible, you know, that's why I'm not a big giant fan of the LED strips. I don't like the things that are just like, I shoved it in there and that's where it's gonna stay, yeah, got it. Like, it doesn't look like it belongs there, bro. It looks like you shoved a big bulky LED strip in there. Demon eyes are sick because they're so subtle. I love the look of them when they're on. And like I said before, it'll have nothing to do with the low beam. I'll get to fix this wire into place so that it's not interfering with anything inside these 370Z lights, and it's gonna complement all the other mods. If you wanna check out that video, click right there and you'll get to see the full 370Z build. It's a multiple series of videos, but this was a part of it, and I didn't want it to be 100% hooked into just 370Z. So I did make it using those projectors, but I didn't make it 370Z Demon Eye install video. This is all Demon Eyes. I want you to understand it. This works the same on any kind of projector that you have out there. Every different type of projector will have different openings and little slits and everything else, but the glass is gonna bend the light the same way, whether it's mounted on the top or the bottom, and there's only so many types of Demon Eyes that you can use. So that was my take. Let's get this thing in the housing and I will wrap up this video. So we're gonna line up the notches on the bulb, and you should always have that little filament thing on the bottom aiming down. Put the retainer clips into place. Okay, let's get it in there. So I'm soldering like crazy, and I always need to cover it up with heat shrink. So I buy these things by the hundreds, and they come in like packs of 400 or whatever. And so these are like double length what I've normally gotten. So I can just cut them right in half, and that's like perfect length for me. Okay, so just to make soldering a little bit easier, I've got my ends cut right here. I'm gonna put them into a little bath of this flux. This solder in the volcano is gonna wanna suck right to it. It's just kind of cool stuff. It's super scary. It's interesting. Ready? Down she goes. Ooh. Boom. Look at those. Tanned. I give it a 10. Give it a 10. So again, this is totally an optional step. I'm only doing it based on the fact that I can run everything super clean out the back and not really have to involve anything that could potentially get wet later, like the LED drivers. It's very easy to solder to tinned wire also. So there's that. Working on my headlights, I just wanna go home. Oh yeah, I'm working on my headlights. Dude, I am tired. It's Friday. I don't got no job. I got stuff to do. Shrink. Let's do the old Testerooski. My dude here is 12 volts. Let's get 12 volts. Got a blue. Ooh. How? Alright, and then. No, and then. Bow. And then white. It's all white. Okay.